How's everybody doing? I wanted to clarify on some things when we're talking about, key centers and giant steps and all this stuff. In the tune giant steps, I'm not going to call it a tune. There's three key centers. You got B, E flat, and G. Correct? Now, each one of those major sonorities, of course, you're going to have a B, right? A G, and an E flat, right? Major sevens. In this case, if you omit the fifth each time and replace it with a sharp 5, you get this augmented chord all over the place. So you get B, okay, so that's with the sharp 5. Well, if you move that down a third, you get the G with the sharp 5 in it. But it's the same three notes: G, B, E flat, B, E flat, G, right? E flat, G, B. So it's like a long string. There's this long string that goes infinitely out into the universe and down into the earth, right? So each time you go a major third above something, it ends up being a circle. A major third above B is E flat, a major third above that is G. So if we raise the fifth on each one of those, all of a sudden we get that cluster. So it goes on forever. So imagine if you had this rope or a string that had those things were all connected, right? And now you have three key centers that are connected to those things just by raising the fifth of the chord. So okay, so now you have this common thread throughout all three of those keys. And imagine if you were able to start at the top of the rope and just swing around and always be connected by using the melodic minor scales that are all related to that as well. So in the case of E flat with a raised, or B, I'm going to start with B, with a raised 5 in it, what happens is now take the relative melodic minor of B, which is A flat or G sharp, okay? I'm sorry. Anyway, what happens is those three notes show up in the G sharp minor melodic minor scale. They also show up in the C melodic minor. Okay, so A flat, right? C minor, C melodic minor. Okay, and the other one is E melodic minor, right? So let's see. Okay, so all three of them, imagine if you were able to have that string that you're always attached to and be able to use different things, because now you've got a commonality. Okay, so when you're playing along, okay, and you have that thing that's in common with each other. So now it's what I'm calling the melodic minor matrix, because now you have this one thread that's in common, but you're able to go in and out and outside of it. As long as you know that you're going to be your safety, because in each case you got an E flat or B there, an E flat there, and a G here, right? It keeps on flipping around and flipping around. So it's safe to say that you could just play those scales and be able to always have this to center yourself around. I hope that clears some stuff up. You know, the augmented fifth or the raised 5 on any major sonority is not a big deal. Omitting the fifth is one of the first things that happens. So playing that sharp 5 is not a big deal over any given sonority. If right? It gives you all those color notes and everything while keeping this intact. I'm hoping that this is helping. You can do things like, okay, say you start here with the E flat, you spin to C, right? Right? So, okay, and now, so that becomes the 7, right? Right? So you see how those all work within each one of the scales. The point being is that if you were in any of those 3 key centers, E flat, G, B, and doing a set of changes, that you're safe. It's pretty safe to say that you can play one of those 3 or all 3 of those melodic minors against that harmony and still be safe and feel like you're a bird flying around or you're spinning circles. The thing about this to really think about is that you're spinning circles in a very square world. So now, since things are becoming cyclical, right, and becoming like circles, now you can kind of play like there's going to be an attachment. But you hide it, and it's the hiding of it is where it becomes really kind of tricky. So, right, so then I'm going to go to E flat and do the same thing. Okay, go to B. It's retaining enough of it, so it enables you to get inside and outside. Just imagine, like when a bird flies, this can be your air, okay? And the key centers are the air, and the changes are the air. But when the bird is flying, it doesn't want to think about flying. It just wants to know that the air is there and that there's a place to land. I hope that this has helped out a little bit. Like I said, once you figure it out, okay, that's 1 string, right? So imagine now, all you have to have is 4 strings and attach everything to it. Okay? Almost like DNA. And this is part of the DNA of the melodic minor. Alright? And if you think about it in that way, there's enough of it in each one of those scales. There's enough of it, and certainly because it's a root and a third in each case, that there's enough of it that you could argue, okay, as long as you keep that intact, all the other notes are going to kind of fall into place. And that's where you get that super neat color thing, that arrival that's not like normal. That's how you get that really kind of cool, oh, those don't seem like the right notes. But since they're ordered in such a way, you can now, you're going outside, you're stepping outside, you're flying, you're hanging to that chain, you're hanging to that rope, and becomes a lot easier to think about after you get used to it. And you get used to how that sounds, and all of a sudden you're playing, okay? And this is what I'm saying. Giant steps is a tool. It's the steps that you take to become a giant, to take those steps, to be to fly like a bird, like that first step when a bird takes to fly. That's a giant step. So these are the same kind of things while keeping your tonal center intact. And to me, it's amazing that nobody's ever seen this or whatever. Maybe it's just the nature of the instrument. But for me, my playing has now become so much more about playing lines and cool colors and less about fast notes and those kind of things, but more about playing meaningful notes. Let's see. Right? So we're in G. Okay, so here's a kind of a cool thing. I'm going to play G, A, or G sharp melodic minor. Okay? Now I'm going to play the C melodic minor. Okay, you're seeing how that one works. Okay? Now the E melodic minor. Okay? Just work with it. Trust it. These things, since Coltrane found them, okay? The other thing to keep in mind is if you go a major third away from G, you get B. You get a major third away from B, you get D sharp or E flat. And then if you go a major third from E flat, you get G, right? E flat, G. And then if you go up to G and you go a major third above that is B. So you can see the cycle. And you can see how it just kind of goes off into infinity, right? And now all you have to do is kind of attach yourself to that along the way. Hope it was helpful. Everybody have a nice day.